Today I'm going to be reviewing Windriders of the Jagged Cliffs, a supplement slash module for 2nd edition Darksun. So if you look at the tablelands and go further north and to the edge, there's like this cliff and there's a big ledge that is below the top of the cliff, so it's a long way down to that ledge, but it's even further down to the valley below. So there's a map of that. Okay, so here's the map that comes with it. And here's a side view map showing that the ledge is quite a ways down, but there are other locations even further down the cliff before you get down to the bottom where the swamp is. So there's a swamp on the edge of the cliff because all the water above the cliff flows down into this swamp, and there's lots of volcanic vents and stuff that turns the water that falls into steam, or at least some of it. There's some rivers that flow out of the swamp, and so it's very foggy down there. You can't see much from the top of the cliff. So the people who live here are all halflings. And they're halflings who have lived that way since the Blue Age. For some reason, Rajat spared them. So it's an all halfling campaign book. So here's some history of this little enclave of halflings. Tells a little about their culture. And so one of the things is these halflings often mutate. So there's a mutation table. And it goes quite a lot of detail about their fashion, their clothing, what classes they can be. You know, doing magic, priestly magic, druid magic. Psionics is considered something really strange to do here, because they have their own magic, the halflings, the life-shaping magic. And social status, you start with a social class role. There's some character kits. There's a special kits here. The Chan Terrorist, the Climber, Wind Rider, a Wind Dancer, sorry, Wind Rider, and if you're, since you're living out here on the cliff, if you're climbing and you fall, you don't just fall and die. There's a roll for what happens when you fall. All the halflings that live here have an 80% chance to climb. And if they're skilled, they get an extra 10% chance. It's 90% chance to climb. It's pretty good. There's a little ledge sticking up off of the cliff. Goes a bit into the history. Another section of the cliffs. Lots of stuff on the society of these halflings. There's a hot air balloon. Economics, taxes. Climbing is an occupation. Healers, life shaping is an occupation. Scholars, teachers, wind riders. Yeah, Windriders are people who ride around in hot air balloons. You'd think that would draw more attention because they would fly up high and people would see them. More on Life on the Ledge. On economics, the leadership, here's the city of Thamasku, which is this city here, on the shore of the lake, which flows into the river, which flows, makes a waterfall that goes off the cliff. Not everything's hunky-dory. There are criminals in this society. Places of note, important NPCs. There's a Terran riding a pterodactyl. There's a location on the cliffs where there's like a bridge. There's another location. So there's lots of locations, little ledges where people live, or halflings live, and other creatures live. They're not alone. There are other things besides halflings, like Thrycreen. So other races like the Bovnin, the Regoliths, the Terrans, the Pyrene, the Thrycreen, and lost claims of halflings who just lost track of the city that's higher up the cliff there. And then it goes to the life-shaping magic. This is a magic where you control animals and plants and turn them into like a substitute for technology. It's a technology of biology, which is a really cool thing. Now, it occurred to me that if this had been packaged differently, this could have been a really cool campaign to just have a campaign of halflings starting off in this place and not give a clue about what's going on for a couple of levels until you finally climb the cliff and discover you're in Athos. But just, they didn't package it that way. A lot of this stuff, if they'd been a separate player's handbook, that would have been really cool, but it would take a lot of work to make a player's handbook for this. Work that I'm not really willing to do just for the thrill of that. So yeah, it's a great idea, but a great lost opportunity. And there's a module, a little module adventure, where you go down the cliff into the swamp. And so there's some locations you meet along the way, climbing down the cliff. Some creatures you meet. Swamp encounters. Here's a map of the swamp and some of the locations in there, including the inverted pyramid and the monstrosity lair. The confluence. There's something undead. Some sort of lich. And they don't have just lich in Darksun. Each undead, if it's not a skeleton or a zombie, is unique. The inverted pyramid, which is a location for the adventure to get to. There's a map of what's there. Map key. There's some Jagged Cliffs adventure hooks like First Contact, or Secret Infiltration, the Life Shaper Rebellion. If the Life Shaping Magic rebels against you. Esper Hunt, looking for Psionicis, which are illegal. Monster, Lost Caverns, Death by Fire. And there's some new monsters. new races. The Regolith is a race that lives on the cliffs, as are the Bovnen. That's what this thing is. And then you can make like life-shaped creatures to be guardians. There's like several different kinds. You can make life-shaped transport. So that's Windriders of the Jagged Cliffs. A very interesting supplement, but it seems like it'd be hard to do as a place to start your campaign. Might be an interesting place for your players to visit, though.